An amazing story that the Forsaken Children has been privileged to be a part of is that of Nebiyu. Nebiyu has now been reunified with his family, with his mom, this mom who rejected him. So his story is just a beautiful picture of how the Forsaken Children and Onesimus reach out to the street children of Ethiopia. So here's Nebiyu's story shared first person from him.
My name is Nebiyu, and I am in 6th grade. I am 14 years old. I am from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. My dad died when I was 2 years old, and so I lived with my mom. My mom told me I was cursed and I should leave the house. Living on the streets is where I experienced a lot of pain and challenges. We would start out our day with begging. We would ask people for money, and they would insult us and say bad words. During the day it gets really hot, and at night it gets really cold. It was hard because we didn't have a place to stay. No matter what we did, we always relied on people for food and money. At first, I didn't have any hope that I would get off the street. But then one day, I was walking and Nega found me, and he offered to help me. That's when I got my hope. I stayed with Nega because I didn't have a house. So they gave us food, a shower, and school, and that started to change my life. The drop-in center was the place where my life started changing. So my favorite thing at the drop-in center was playing with the other kids. I learned not to fight with the other kids from God and Nega, but the main reason was myself. I came to an understanding that food and other things didn't matter. Peace was the most important thing, and that made me realize that I shouldn't fight with other kids. My family were not believers, and they didn't like it when people would tell them about Jesus, and so I didn't want to hear it either. But then I got to the halfway house. Our house mom asked me who changed my life, and I didn't know how to answer. It was a really hard question. I told her that I changed my life. She told me that it wasn't me that had changed my life, but God. Then I agreed to go to church, and I asked God to forgive all my sins, and He did. After that, I started serving God with a clean heart. A few years later, we were asked if we wanted to go back to our families. All the kids agreed to go back, but I didn't want to. Then a person named Mimi told me that no matter what happened, it was my mom who gave birth to me, and no one could ever replace her. That's when I agreed to go see my mom. If you looked at our situation with your physical eyes, it didn't look like a God situation. I didn't get as much food as I got at the halfway house, but I know that all the challenges and problems will pass, and so they don't mean anything to me. Whatever my mom has, we share together. And now I live a life that nobody expected.
Even after 5 years of being away from his mom, and then seeing her get ready for him to come back to her home, and him be ready to also reunify with his mother who at one time rejected him, but now seeing them together is pretty much sums up why Karen and I invested our lives in the Forsaken Children, because we felt like God was saying that there was hope for these children to come off of the streets and be back with their families. And Nebiyu really, he paints that picture. It's reality. It's happening. So, for lack of a better word, I'd say Nebiyu's story is exhilarating.